Rollo will never leave me. If I was a spin-off from Rollo, of course I think about that all the time. I have a real affinity with French production.
Comment expliquez-vous le succès de Viking?
I think maybe some of the success of Vikings is because it crosses genres. On the one hand, Vikings is very much an historical show, a period drama. But what is a period drama? Downton Abbey is a period drama. The White Queen is a period drama. The Crown is a period drama. But I think people who like a good historical period drama are interested in history. They want to be taken back in time and they want to be taken to another world. But on the other hand, when we talk about other worlds, more otherworldly, Vikings kind of crosses that genre because of these gods and monsters that they believe in, the pagan religion, the battles, the action. It kind of crosses into the fantasy genre as well. I mean, by no means is Vikings a fantasy, but these gods and monsters they believed in, we try and portray them on screen and personify them in front of these characters so you can really get under the skin of their religion. But therefore, I suppose, it's kind of more in the realms of Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and things like that. So when you cross these genres, you kind of create your own genre, and I think that's what makes Vikings unique, and that's what's kind of really got a new base of a fan base. Because I've been meeting people from all different ages, all different walks of life, who all seem to like Vikings. And on the other hand, Viking sells itself. It's what it does on the tin, Vikings. And so many people have been interested in Vikings, whether it's because they're the raiding, marauding heathens with their horned helmets, which is not what a Viking is, or people have been intrigued with them because a lot of people have Viking blood, they have their ancestry, and this is the first time this race of people has been explored on screen in a discursive way, in a very honest way, and I think people are interested in where their ancestry comes from and their heritage, and there's way more to these guys than just blood screaming heathens from the sea. They were market traders, they were farmers, they were explorers, and I think we portray these remarkable people on screen in a really honest way, and I think that's what's encapsulated the imaginations of the public.
Avez-vous déjà imaginé un spin-off centré sur le personnage de Rollo? Quel serait le pitch?
If I was a spin-off from Rollo, of course I think about that all the time. I actually think, because I love history and I'm obsessed with Vikings now, and from what I've learned, I would love to see a television show about the Normans, the Norman conquests. So this would be my pitch to you. Vikings, the Norman conquests. And we start with Rollo because Rollo is the Duke of Normandy and is the great-great-grandfather of William the Conqueror, who is who we really want to follow in this new TV show. But our way into that world is to pick up when Rollo left Kattegat. Because if you remember rightly, Ragnar was still alive then. Ragnar went away for like 15 years and his sons grew up. No one knows what he did in that time. So I would suggest that Ragnar went over to Normandy and tried to settle the feud with his brother Rollo. And that in itself is at least an episode, if not a whole season of this. And then you can have guest appearances from Björn, because obviously we know that Rollo comes back and says, I'm your father. Maybe Björn is curious and spends some time in Normandy. Then maybe Rollo dies in this first season. We hand the baton over to William Longsword, his son, who would be in his 20s. And by the end of season 2, we have the teenage William the Conqueror. And the Norman conquests are obviously started with the Vikings, but have become their own French show. The reason why there's 3 lions on the English shirt in the football is because of William the Conqueror. There was 2 lions, and when he got over to England, he made it his 3rd lion. Yeah, there's all this, and it's never been betrayed. So I would say my pitch would be, for Rollo spin-off, would be Vikings, the Norman conquests.
Qu'est-ce que vous avez gardé en vous des différents personnages que vous avez incarnés?
I mean, Rollo will never leave me because the show itself was the most fun. It was hard graft, but I grew up with my castmates, and very rarely do you get to carry a character through from the beginning, maybe the age of 28, 30, right up until Rollo, when we last see him on screen, and around 68 years old. Usually you kind of have to hand the baton over to an older actor who will carry on in another season, and they let us all play our characters, so we really bonded as a cast. Of course, cast members were killed off, and we had to stay in touch with them off screen, but a lot of us were in it from the beginning to the end, and for that reason itself, it'll always mean so much more to me than many of the other characters that I've played that have been just as much fun to play, but not the experience of playing them. Rollo, I mean, I don't really take any of the characters with me to my next role. I think it's important as an actor to, even if you seem on paper that the character, maybe I play another Viking who has a brother, You know, and you go, oh, it seems very cinematographic, but as an actor, your responsibility is to smash that character into 1,000 pieces and then start with a clean slate. This is a new character. And even if you find yourself going down the same things, you have to start from the same point, which is I know nothing about this person. Because what I'm really doing as an actor is exploring the human condition, and everybody is different. Everyone is unique in their own way. And you have to find those intricacies to make it sing on screen.
On vous a vu évoluer dans plusieurs séries françaises, notamment Mirage, ainsi que dans la série franco-suisse Winter Palace. Ces expériences traduisent-elles un intérêt particulier de votre part pour les productions françaises?
I do. I have a real affinity with French production, French cinema. I think the restraints of French creatives, the writers, the producers, the directors, so different to Britain and maybe even America, where they have free reign to be creative and original. And very rarely do I see original dramas that come through for me to read. We live in a world right now where people want to remake something that was successful 20 years ago. We want a sister show, a spin-off from a successful show. We want the same story told in a different way. And very rarely do you get a scriptwriter, a creative, who has a vision and it's different. And I find that in countries like France, where they are more encouraged to just go with their creative juices. And what I love is if you think it, and you think it's an original idea and you love it, then there's hundreds of thousands of people out there that probably think the same way as you, but they don't know it until they see it. And I would rather be in something that I think that the world has never seen before, and then I find out they don't want to see it and it crashes and burns. I would rather take that chance than do the same old tosh that has been done so many times before, because there's always a chance that you do something original and it becomes the next big thing, because people have been waiting to see something that breaks the mold. And I do think I find that in French cinema, and I definitely find it in the French television miniseries that come my way.
Pouvez-vous nous en dire plus sur votre expérience sur le tournage de la série suisse Winter Palace?
Working with the Swiss is fantastic. I mean, they are unique because you get you get the French Swiss, the German Swiss, and then the French Swiss, the French German Swiss, and I love the way that they all have their own different characteristics, and we really gelled as a family out there because it was so cold, and they were all very friendly with me. I mean, I don't speak very good French, and but then neither did my character, which was so fun. But yeah, being out there, in any kind of I learned this from Vikings as well. When you're out in the harsh terrain, when we filmed in Vikings, it was always pouring with rain. There would be hailstorms. It was tough. And in Winter Palace, there was snow everywhere. Under harsh conditions, you obviously have to be lighthearted. You have to keep the morale up, and they were a great crew, keeping everyone's morale up in the snow. It was fun.